Our reporter Joe Galli, as we said, is live in San Bernardino. He just got to this changing location of a scene. He was closer to the Inland Regional Center just a few moments ago. Joe, what have you been able to gather since you've been there?
Well, right now we just arrived at the scene of this corner right here on the corner of Tippecanoe and Gould. I'll get it out of the way right now where you can see highway patrol officers and sheriff's department officers getting ready. They've blocked off this street. This is Tippecanoe heading northbound right now. They've blocked off this street. We've had helicopters flying overhead, numerous ambulances driving into the area with their lights on, and then also driving immediately right back out of the area as well. So multiple ambulance, multiple police on the scene right now. They're shutting down this street. As you can see, they are directing traffic, having people go either up Breer or Gould. It's the two names of the street has right now, but we're a little ways from where that shootout has happened. We believe it's right up the street from here. We still have helicopters far overhead. That's where you've been getting a lot of your news coverage from, as well as police helicopters as well. We've got flashing lights further down the street here, so it looks like they're actually going to be closing off the street further down right now. So definitely a very active situation. We've seen fire trucks, we've seen ambulances, we've seen police officers all driving. As you see, another ambulance heading right down the street right now. Now, just a few minutes ago, we were outside of the Rock Church. That's where they were having a lot of the people who were being interviewed that were in the building during the shooting that weren't injured. Now, while we were standing there, almost all of the police vehicles that were escorting those buses of people all left the area at one time. The majority of them were Fontana Police Department officers. They all took off, all had their lights blazing, all going as fast as they could down the street, and they all have arrived in this area right here. We have numerous police helicopters in the air right now, sheriff's departments, as you see, rifles in hand, ready to go, but they are shutting down this part of the street right now. And so far we also see lots of ambulances and fire trucks as well. So definitely a very active scene, a very fluid scene. Of course, we're a little ways away from where the shootout actually took place, but it looks like this is pretty much as far as the sheriff's department is going to let us go at this time.
And we begin with News Channel 3's Joe Galli, who's close to the collapse site near Desert Center with our live mobile newsroom with more from there. Joe.
Well, they've definitely had a lot of progress since our last newscast at 6 o'clock right here. We're actually standing on those eastbound lanes. The collapsed area is just about 20 feet over here to my left. As you can see, a giant hole. So that's the area that they're not focusing on. As you said, they are working on these westbound lanes over here. They've built a large form under the area that was damaged by the floodwaters, and they're beginning to pump concrete down into that form. I'm told it's going to take about 1,000 cubic yards of concrete. To give you an idea of exactly how much that is, when you see a concrete truck driving down the road, that thing only holds about 10 cubic yards. So they're going to be pumping concrete all night long and probably well into tomorrow to try to fill that hole, which hopefully will be good news for the communities that are alongside the 10 freeway.
CBS Local 2's Joe Galli is with our live mobile newsroom in Indian Wells with what's being done to make the experience more enjoyable for people in the stands and for people watching at home. And are you one of the participants this year, Joe?
Chris, the only way that I'll be good enough to participate in the BNP Paribas is with practice, so that's what me and my camera guy Dante are doing right now. Dante, set me up with a tennis ball. Wow! Ooh, just barely missed the camera on that one. But of course, all the improvements right here at the Indian Wells Tennis Gardens, they're not happening here on the practice court. They're happening in the main stage, Stadium 1. Now, LGBT Days is continuing throughout this weekend. A lot of fun stuff going on. They've got a bar crawl happening right now with a free shuttle service if you want to be a part of that. But you can see a full list of all the things you could do over at KESQ.com. We got it all posted for you right there. Now, Karen, let me ask you a question. Do you know how to do the time warp?
No, I can sing the song, though.
You can sing the song. Well, let's see. Let me go through the dance moves for you. Here we go. Let me show you. You take a jump to the left.
Oh, yeah.
And then you take a step to the right. You put your hands on your hips. You bring your knees in tight. And that's probably all I can do here on local TV and still keep my job for Monday. So if you want to see the rest, go ahead and rent Rocky Horror Picture Show over on Netflix or something.
News Channel 3's Joe Galli, who I was just thinking about, continues First Alert Storm Team coverage in Indian Wells with a look at the devastation there. Joe.
Well, John, let's take a little bit of a tour down one of the fairways here on the celebrity golf course here at the Indian Wells Golf Resort as I go ahead and take our golf cart and put it into motion just to give you an idea of the scope and severity of the damage here. Now, this fairway looks just like a lot of the other fairways, especially on the celebrity course that got the majority of the damage. They also have the players course here, significantly less damage there, but still some fallen trees.
The 5th annual zombie walk grows in size each year, and how he's even a part of the fun. Joe.
Well, Karen, it looks like I got bit a little earlier in the day. Started to turn into a zombie, but I think I found the cure. It turns out if you eat a bacon-wrapped hot dog, starts to reverse the effects of being a zombie, which is good news for me. And of course, you know, I'm only just kidding there. But, you know, I do kind of have that craving for brains. I'm sure it'll pass. I'm sure it'll pass. Anyways, you know, this face right here was just a nice canvas for some students learning the art of makeup effects at College of the Desert. Aw.
Just like that.
There he is.
He's pooping.
He's just pooping on me right now, but that's okay. That's what peacocks do, and just like everybody else. But this is the peacock that was causing all the trouble in Palm Desert. He's beautiful. He's a juvenile, not quite all the beautiful plumage that you're going to see with a fully adult peacock, but he's going to be going ahead to a good home. Along with getting ink and all kinds of other tattoo stuff, they also have screen printing demonstrations like this right here. Here we go.
That looks amazing. That's very good.
Whoa, I ruined it.
We begin with News Channel 3's Joe Galli live in Sugarloaf near the fire, where the community has stepped up to make things a little bit easier for firefighters. Joe.
Well, Karen, when you think about Big Bear and you think about the Big Bear area, you definitely think about camping, and that's certainly what hundreds of firefighters are doing on this softball field right now at Big Bear High School. They've pitched a bunch of tents. That's where they're going to go and catch some Z's after about a 16-hour shift of fighting the fire, which is just on the other side of Sugarloaf Mountain. Let's take a look at a map of where we are right now. As you can see, we are just west of the front lines, and the high school is kind of the best place to set up the command center. And I tell you, the community out here really has stepped up to help these firefighters out.
The terrain out there is really tough. We're talking 10,000 foot elevation at the most, and sometimes they're hiking up 2,000 feet a day or more. They're out there for 16 hours. They're really going to the T on this.
The lake fire has certainly been no picnic for firefighters, but they are making good progress.
We have no structure loss, and that's great. That's awesome. We did have to wrap a few historical structures the past 2 days as a precautionary thing, just in case the fire does come into that area.
Well, this is the kind of tough terrain we're talking about. Firefighters having to hike up hills just like this one, in many cases, ones that are a lot steeper, and then they've got to encounter tripping hazards like this one here that could be on fire. Big Bear High School turned into a command post where hundreds of tents are set up for firefighters so they can catch some Z's between shifts.
This was logistically the best spot for the camp, for the firefighters. It's big enough. We've got here again the gymnasium for day sleeping. It's close to the fire, so we're not putting the firefighters in a longer time of travel. This just was the best spot, and they moved their whole graduation to do that.
Local residents showing their support, especially on Father's Day.
They gathered cards, Father's Day cards, and they gave one to each dad. These cards are filled out by the people in the community, and it just really touched us. We're out here working, missing our kids, so it just really made it extra special.
The firefighters want to give a big thank you to everybody who came out and everybody who's continuing supporting them as they do this incredibly hard and dangerous work. It is really treacherous up on that mountain. The good news is no new evacuations have been ordered at this time. The fire is primarily burning in a lot of wilderness area on the other side of the mountain, so no new structures being threatened, at least at this time. For now, reporting live in Sugarloaf, I'm Joe Galli for News Channel 3.